Stardate 55183.4. The Tenshi preparing to head back out after the successful mission of the strike team into the Mirror Universe and rescuing former Captain Athaton along with others. Lieutenant Sarissa and Athaton are currently being debriefed aboard Starbase 2100 with regular commands the Starfleet command. In other news, while negotiations are full steam ahead with the Tholians to finally put an end to the border conflict, minor battles and incursions still happen across Federation space as the Terran Empire struggles against Starfleet. As to what their motives and goals are is still unknown. And with that, we're going to go to the office, where one Admiral Nea and a current Starfleet intelligence officer, Commander Captain Tora Vex, is currently at with Athaton. Athaton, you were just escorted into the room where Admiral Nea and Captain Vex currently reside at. Sorry, Athaton.
I'm here. Kind of enjoying my seat since I'm not required to stand at attention. So look over at pointedly at the security guard nearby.
Admiral Nea looks at the security like, "You're dismissed." Yes, sir.
Nice you to take a trip all the way out here yourself, Nia.
I've been out here for a few weeks now.
Out of 200?
Yeah, unfortunately this has been the staging area for a lot of the confrontation lately. Thank you for coming. I know you're no longer part of Starfleet, but Captain Vex here has a few questions to ask of you. If you don't mind.
Captain Vex, you're the intelligence officer, aren't you?
She nods. That is correct.
Gestures with a slight shrug. Fire away, Captain.
I know your captivity on the other side in the Mirror Universe was not long. Do you have any inclination as to why you were taken by the Mirror operatives?
Back of the hand speculation, I would say my understanding was that they had a misunderstanding of my importance in Starfleet. They referred to me upon capture as Captain Athaton, not realizing that I had already resigned by that point. Attempts to extract information regarding... there may have been an attempt to try to extract codes and fleet dispositions, but not quite realizing or perhaps believing that I was no longer privy to such information. It also, second speculation might be that they wanted to replace me in some fashion, which not terribly useful to them tactically from an intelligence point of view if I'm a private citizen. But more concretely, would I be able to do some sort of insight security role to actually get a hard guess on what they were shooting at? Because they probably were asking me or just beating me up or whatever.
Insight security difficulty 2.
None of that really applies. But more concretely, it's a lot harder to say. I've been briefed on Mirrorverse fleet dispositions and culture, but I've never encountered them before. And as I understood it, by their history, Terran Empire wasn't a thing anymore. I was what do they call the Klingon Cardassian Empire or something to that degree? So he shrugs.
I believe
I'm
the
guessing at that point.
Cisco's report was referring to the Klingon Cardassian alliance, but you are
Alliance.
correct in that assumption. Um, not to go into further detail with you, but it is sort of an enigma as how the Terran Empire was restarted. During your captivity, did you notice anything unusual about your fellow captives?
Back of the hand observation. The large numbers struck me as a bit odd. With such a large number of personnel being grabbed of a variety of ranks, it's puzzling that that might not have been noticed before even my capture, unless we were all captured roughly around the same time. I'd be hard pressed to think that they grabbed us piecemeal. Abuse was rampant across most of the prisoners from what I saw. And when they held us, they weren't in their the Terran uniforms. He gestures to his chest. You know, the strange body revealing ones for some odd reason. But they had our standard uniform. Although swaggered about like they're about to hit somebody because they talked loud. That's sort of unprofessionalism. But I tried to get a good look at the security arrangements. What was actually odd was that they had us in a it wasn't a technological facility from what I could observe. It looked like a basic I would have to say pre-industrial age society, pre-age of sail even. Stone walls, sconces, iron cages, simple locks. A place of opportunity rather than a place of high technology. But it didn't look Klingon. It didn't look anything like that. But and it seemed actually, GM, could I possibly get an insight, command, or con to see if I recognize if most of the prisoners were all 10th people, or if it was actually spread out across the fleet?
Insight command difficulty 1.
There we go.
Gain a momentum. For the most part, a lot of them were 10th Fleet. Some of them you did not recognize. You presume they might belong to other people within Starfleet.
From my recollection, from the faces over there, most of us there were 10th Fleet officers and crew. There were a few faces there I didn't recognize. That could be because they were new to 10th and I wasn't aware of them, or they were from different parts of Starfleet. But most of us there were 10th Fleet. Or former 10th Fleet, as the case presently is. No species specific. They grabbed whoever, which makes sense if they were trying to infiltrate across various strata of the fleet.
That concurs with what evidence we've gathered so far. She starts writing things down on her pad. That's all the questions I have, Admiral. Admiral Ney just kind of nods. Then, thank you for your time. She heads out.
That was downright polite of intelligence. I'm used to getting a much more thorough debrief. Not that I'm wishing I did.
Most of what you've said so far is holding up pretty consistent with everything else we've gathered so far from other captives. So, not to mention, I'm sure Captain Vex giving her nature, she was probably discreetly sensing your emotions during your how you were talking.
Ah, a bit of a loyalty test. That's probably wise.
Probably to help rule out if you were swapped or not while you're in captivity.
He smiles and waves his paws like, no, don't worry about it. It makes sense. Last thing you want is to have a operative manage to slip through the cracks. Civilian or not, that I know someone with my identity could be somewhat of an issue.
Indeed. Speaking of that, are you absolutely sure you wish to continue your leaving Starfleet? Paperwork's already been filed, but you could still use a good career officer such as yourself.
If you asked me that a week ago, I would say yes. But frankly, Nia, I saw the conduct I saw during my rescue and escape disturbed me a little bit. I think our younger officers are starting to need more guidance than I thought they did. And secondly, it seems that no matter what I do, I seem to step forward in the event of a crisis, which I was trying to keep my head down, but apparently he seems to follow me. So I'm less certain if that makes any sense, but
Well, I understand. You still haven't filled the commanding officer's position aboard the Tenshi. There still is time if you wish to resume your former post. I do know there is a transport heading directly to Kate that leaves by the end of the day. Um, Give it some time to think on it. If you feel otherwise, I will understand. And then she kind of pulls out of the desk drawer and puts a little case on the desk and kind of stands up. Um, though, as my final act, or at least pleasure to hand you the Starfleet Medal of Honor for your courageous acts in recent events. Hands the medal out to you and holds out her hand for handshake.
kind of looks at the medal, doesn't stand up right away. A please would be fine. You don't have to give me a medal to try to attract me back to service. He stands
Mistaken.
up and he stands up and just grab and holds out to the medal and shakes her hand.
Uh, this is not a bribe, Thatton. This is our way of saying thank you for your service and everything you've done for us.
Glad to be of help. I think anyone of similar talent would have done the same. But I'll take the medal anyway, and I'll take the extra bump to my credit account.
I'm sure whatever path you choose, then I think you'll do a excellent job at it.
Who knows, Nia? Maybe I'll try my hand at politics. try to shoot for Federation Counselor. He winces like, no.
Well, in that case, good luck.
Gee, as well, yeah. I'll have a talk with your operations officer for the end of the day. Figure out what I'm gonna do.
Very well, like I said, think on it. Take care if we don't meet again.
Oh, don't worry. We'll probably meet again. Although he starts walking away. Although I'd like to think I would have outranked you by this point. Mildly annoyed you passed me. I won't hold it against you, though.
Well, if you stay in Starfleet, maybe you will surpass me. She just returns the smile.
Yeah. Good day, Admiral.
Good day. She sits back in her chair and starts reading through reports. Meanwhile, elsewhere in a very similar room, Cirsa, you're in some sort of office. There's a security guard in the room with you. Been waiting here for what seems like hours.
Well, in that case, I can probably have time to play with a pad and start, just send messages to Kate.
While you're doing that, Lieutenant Sarissa.
Yeah. Quick little, scurry to stand up. Yeah, ma'am. Captain.
I am Captain Tora Vex. I am the intelligence officer, part of the 10th Fleet. Please, you can go back to remain seated.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah. She'll take a seat again.
I have some routine questions for you during your time with the strike team.
I shall answer as I can.
Going through the reports, you were primarily positioned as Overwatch. Is that correct?
That is correct. With a small security detail, just 3 men.
And during this time, you had a fairly good overview of the situation on the surface level. Is that correct?
For the most part, yes. There were a few individuals I couldn't see, either inside a building or against its far side from where I was. But other than that, yes, I could see things rather clearly.
At any point, did you see anything suspicious upon your return back to the expedition after your beam out?
Upon returning to the expedition,
Yes, anything unusual from your fellow shipmates that returned that were on the surface of the planet?
will be some kind of inside security role to figure out.
Inside security difficulty 2.
You can have a threat, sure. Why not? Because I don't have a focus for that. Unless investigative techniques applies, but I don't think so here.
Take it at increased complications because you're thinking through your mind like as an investigator. like
mind files, yeah. Okay. Okay, good enough. That was a threat, so I've got a reroll. There we go.
1 momentum gained. For the most part, nothing really stands out, though the people who were captive seemed Some of them seem more agitated, but that could also be due to their incarceration time.
That'll be kind of a little bit of quiet as she looks off and just thinking back to it. As I don't believe so. No one. I don't know all of the crew that were taken personally, but from what I saw, most were, as you would expect, either a little bit upset for one reason or another, upset at themselves for getting captured or not being able to do more, or I'm sure you get the general gist of it. But most were otherwise calm or just hurt. Not particularly strange.
At any point in time, did any members of your team get separated?
No, we were all together. The only time I didn't have eyes on them all at the same time was when we were climbing a rock face. And if anything had happened during that, it would be very difficult. I mean, you can't exactly, to my knowledge, beam someone off a rock face and replace them. That would be very uh, dangerous. You'd have to know exactly how they're holding a rock. Otherwise, you start falling. A little bit of attention, sorry. Yes, ma'am. But no, we weren't separated or anything like that.
I believe that's all the questions I have for you, Lieutenant. You are dismissed. You are free to roam about the starbase and also return to your vessel if you like.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Uh, she'll stand, kind of nod to Vex, and then go to the door.
All right, and for that, we're going to do a scene change. So, who is on the starbase and who is not?
Vogel would probably be on the ship.
Say Salon would be on the ship.
Cirrus is probably staying on the base.
I guess it also depends on duty shift.
Right now, everyone is essentially on leave, so the Tenshi's been hard docked for about a couple of weeks now, given the situation. So yeah, any player could like go about freely, go to the promenade, check things out, gamble if you want at some Ferengi establishment.
Yeah, if it's Alpha shift, Vogel will be on the ship, calibrating sensors, filing reports, whatnot. If it's Beta Gamma, she'll be on the starbase.
I will say this is closer to beta shift.
Yeah, I'm gonna be somewhere on the promenade, where the table, probably with a small bit of food, and a pad.
Okay, yeah, basically the same as Sarissa.
Yeah.
Solon, where are you currently at?
He's probably on the ship, getting caught up with, personnel evaluations and files and administrative stuff. He's a Vulcan, Going to the front promenade and hanging out with the Ferengi is probably not what he does.
And Jashran, you're still on the ship?
Yeah, trying to catch up, doing everything that I need to do to figure out the duties and everything required of a first officer.
Okay. Sarissa. It's you and Ethan are the only player characters on the Starbase currently. You just got nominated.
Yay.
As you're walking through along the promenade, you seem to, as like kind of the crowd breaks, you see it appears to be some sort of lost child, standing the helpless, kind of looking around like she's searching for something.
Oh no. Does the child appear scared or jumpy or such similar things?
Insight, command, or security difficulty 1.
Security. Oh, I mean, command's actually not terrible for that as a 4. Have the threat just on the off chance of a complete whiff. Okay,
Hey.
good.
Gain momentum.
Fish. Fish. Wow,
Three,
that one fish.
so 3 momentum gained. She looks to be a little bit scared. You could definitely tell at the glance she appears to be humanoid. Though it does seem she has some strange markings along her face.
I am by no means an expert in species, so I'm just gonna. It doesn't matter that much. It's just a child. Yeah. Knowing that she's more scared or concerned, she'll be very cautious in approaching the child in the sense of making sure to not appear threatening or otherwise intimidating. I'm still an adult in a uniform. So I'm going to try and make, as I approach the child, try to not scare them more or startle them or... Yeah.
Presence command difficulty of 2.
Question mark disarming nature?
Sure.
It is to make them relax. Not scare them more, arguably relax.
Difficulty 1 then.
Sweet. Presence command. We have a momentum. I'll use one. Good thing I did.
Who are you?
I'm Lieutenant Sarissa. Do you need help?
Yes, I'm lost. I can't seem to find my friends.
Oh, do you know where they're supposed to be?
We were playing here and I got separated from them.
You're playing hide and seek or something, I'm guessing.
Tag, but yeah.
Oh. Are they like you? Or are they other sorts of children?
And she nods. They're like me.
Okay. Do you have parents nearby as well?
Yes, our ship is docked here.
Oh, okay.
Give me insight con difficulty of 2.
Insight con. Yeah, no, I doubt I could enter that. Yeah, sure. Another momentum is probably wise. I I passed.
There's a complication. I'll use the complication. You notice that, like, when you're talking to her, like, the markings on her face are actually tattoos. As for the complication, you're not entirely too sure what the tattoos mean or whatever relevance they might have.
Hmm. Um, I'm sorry. I don't mean to be rude uh, or ignorant, but I don't believe I've seen one of your kind before. Do you mind telling me what species you are?
Oh, we're a Qui.
Wait.
We're on a. We live on our ship. We travel the stars.
Ah, huh. Well, I'm Acacian. You might already know that.
I've never seen a Cation before. Were you born with ears like that?
Yes. Less fur, though. That comes later. But let's look for your friends. Uh, they should still be around here. Potentially. Hopefully they didn't go too far.
With this will be an extended task. Insight con difficulty 2, work 12, magnitude of 3, resistance of 1 as you're searching the promenade with a young child.
Insight con. Ah.
Yep, as you're navigating the crowds and looking for people like her.
If I'm looking, can I at least argue for investigative techniques?
I will take that.
Yay!
I'm Alcira. You said your name was Sarissa?
Yes, Sarissa. Also, hmm. It's somewhat similar names, actually, when you think about it.
I suppose so. It's very interesting.
Um, do you want to hold a hand to make sure we don't get split up as well?
Sure, and she grabs a hold of your hand.
And let's try over here, where there's smaller places that I imagine little people like you would like to try and hide in. Insight con, momentum, difficulty what? 2.
2. There's 3 momentum. Or no, 2 momentum.
Yeah, let's. Yeah, there should be 2. You can have a threat and the 2 momentum. Let's try to land that strong. Okay, yep, that's what I was looking for.
2 momentum game, so 6 challenge dice.
6. Go.
It's 4 work being done.
1 for piercing would be 5. All I need, correct?
Yes.
Yes. Let's do that.
Right.
It's safer than re-rolling.
Difficulty goes down by 1. You have 1 breakthrough, 5 work. Currently at 1 momentum.
Yeah, not there. Yeah. I have.
We were playing at the fountain over there. I see it now.
Well, that's a good place as any to go. They might have gone back there. Or this be somewhere near it. Or someone near there might have seen them. And we'll go 1 momentum and roll 3 this time.
Gain 2 momentum, 6 challenge dice. That's 4 work.
And we'll do piercing or damage again.
Total of 10. That is 2 breakthroughs. Difficulty is at
Oh, it's
0.
10. Oh, that makes it tempting to just re-roll the 2. But I won't.
You do have 2 work left.
Yeah. That just means I don't need to spend extra if I we'll use 1 again and insight con. Okay. Yeah.
You currently
It's
sitting
end really strong.
at 5 momentum. Roll 6 challenge dice. And you only need the 2 to get through it, which is more than enough. As you go lead through and you journey, go to the fountain, and then you notice that a small group of children playing around a tree that's in the promenade. And as you walk over there, and she smiles and lets go of your hand and runs up to them, noticing that her friends, and apparently it appears to be an adult, an older version of them, wearing tattoos that kind of gathered. She smiles.
Okay.
She smiles at you. She stops for a moment, talks to her parent as you're looking, and then she runs back to you and hands you a necklace. Thank you for your help.
You're welcome. What is this for?
It's jewelry. It's a artifact from our homeworld.
Oh, well, thank you. I don't need anything for helping you, though. That was just something I do. But not refusing it, though, if you insist.
If you don't, and she kind of gets a little teary, if you don't want it, that's okay.
No, very much like, oh, please don't cry. It's very beautiful, except that as a additional show of, let me just slip this on now so you can see.
And then as you put the necklace on, she smiles. Thank you, and she kind of does a slight bow, and maybe meet again. She runs back off to where her companions are at.
We'll kind of stay for a second just to make sure things are fine.
Yeah, apparently the adult in the group kind of sort of walks gathers the kids and escorts them to, away from the promenade.
Okay. Well, that was an interesting occurrence. Back to what I was doing then. Huh. I kind of look at the necklace as well as I can from wearing it, because there's the idea of I take this off and the kid's going to see that magically because that's what kids do.
It's a rudimentary, sort of. It's got like a little emerald at the center of it, and then it's just different. It's a jeweled necklace essentially.
Huh. Okay. Yes. Well, pad and finding a place to sit down and have a bite to eat while sending messages.
There are a number of establishments.
And I am sure by sheer dumbcation chance I'm going to encounter a assassin in whichever one I choose.
High or low?
We'll go high, sure. Oh, never mind. That is incredibly low. Wow. I suppose not.
You do not. At least not walking inside, in the promenade. You don't notice that. There are strange cuisines. There's Frangie cuisines. There's.
Oh no, I'm not in any mood to try something new. I'm going to find a place with good coffee. Which probably means something very human.
There is a very typical human type restaurant.
Fantastic. For someone who spent a ton of time in San Francisco, that makes sense. So let's go there and just start doing let's sending these messages home to find out what's happened to Clan and stuff with, what happened. And the typical, I'm fine, are you fine, please? With coffee and something.
The restaurant's name is La Fusion. It's French.
Amazing.
You write the pads and you send your message off. It'll probably take a while before you get any word back from family, but you could check the news cycles on the pad to see what happened on Kate.
True. Yeah, let's do that.
Insight. Let's go Insight Con, difficulty of 1.
Fantastic. These are my stellar rolls. I keep saying that despite the fact I'm not terrible at these. 1 momentum. And I believe I do.
What focus?
That 2 is dependent on if I had investigative techniques or not. If not, it's just a 1.
Sure.
Okay.
You're currently
I just forgot I had it selected.
Max momentum. And the news from Kate that the Tholians never actually made it to Kate for their attack. They were intercepted by a task force before arriving, and the Klingons, a fleet from the Klingon Empire, managed to help make quick work of the Tholian invaders.
Oh, that's good. Because everything I'd heard until now just said there was a fight. Not where. But there's likely still people she knows in the Cation defense fleet, so they were probably involved. I would imagine the Cation defense fleet was part of the interception force? Question mark?
Sorry, can you repeat that?
If the Cation home defense fleet was part of the interception force, or if they were just kind of waiting over Kate.
They were waiting in case
Okay.
the strike team.
Oh, well. Literally no one back home was in trouble then. Yay. Everyone she knows in Starfleet's already missing. At least from her family, I mean. Okay, well that's good. Time to just relax. Or try to relax. This is what this time is for.
Athan, I believe you're on the Starbase, so before we cut over to somebody else on the ship, where would you like to go?
He's currently waiting at some little cafe, like a Replomat or something like that, because he's just trying to find a quick place to get some meat and something to drink while he writes his letter. And having sent off the letter, he from the Replomat, he probably would have ordered some beef tartare, another fancy way of saying vinegared meat, raw meat. Just because he wants to treat himself a little bit. Bit of wine to go with it. And he'll actually, once he sends out the letter, he's going to tap at his pad a bit and make a request for a meeting with the commanding officer of the Tenshi through the operations officers.
Give me Let's make this control command difficulty of 1.
I'll throw momentum at it. Why not? Oh. Got it.
You send off the request. It might be a little bit before you get a reply back.
Probably finish eating some of his meal, enjoy the promenade, and just relax for a little bit. After that, he'll probably start looking up some of his to see if anyone that he knows from his career is stationed at Starbase 200, other than the Tenshi crew, like from other ships or what have you, and see about looking them up and just chatting with them. With the intent, though, of getting a gauge for what Starfleet is like right now, because he hasn't really he's had his experience, but he's not sure what the attitude of Starfleet's like these days and what kind of culture it has now. If it's still in that Dominion War mindset, or if they're trying to shift away from it.
Insight command difficulty 2. Or insight command or con difficulty 2.
I'll throw momentum at it. Uh-oh.
What do you wish to do with the complication?
I'll just let it stand. Yeah.
Unfortunately, there is no one on board Starbase 200 that at least you're familiar with. And it seems right now, even with going through some records of maybe people you might be familiar with, it seems like everybody's extremely busy at the moment. It's part of the complication.
Yeah.
While you're enjoying your drink and meat, I'm gonna head to the bridge of the Tenshi. Sarissa's on the bridge. Shen, where exactly are you on the Tenshi?
I think the best place that I would be is either the bridge or his own personal office.
Which would be on another deck.
Yeah.
Vogel's currently in the science lab. A bridge to Captain Solon.
So long.
Captain, I've just received a request from a Thatton. He wishes to meet with you at some point. Today, if you're free.
I believe I can make time for our former captain. He can meet. He can meet us. He can meet me here aboard the ship, or I can meet him aboard Starbase. His preference.
I will forward the request on that, sir.
Thank you.
And Thatton, you get the message after some time.
I would suggest if the captain Captain Solon is up for it, I'd invite him to go on a shuttle flight. Bit of a relaxing fly around Starbase and a bit of chat. Captain to former captain.
When that goes through the messages, Salon is fine with that.
With the request done, you managed to, set up the meet point, and I believe it would be probably one of these Starbase's shuttlecraft for that.
They have plenty to spare. Oh.
Meanwhile, in the lab, Vocal, what sort of experiments are you running today?
Let me pull up my character sheet and see what my specialties are. It's definitely going to be like a biology experiment. I'm sure there's a bunch of life forms that we have to categorize.
Give me reason science difficulty of 2 as you're going through some of the science team's current experiments.
Use a momentum. A xenobiology focus.
Yeah.
Reroll the comp.
Get the momentum back. As you're going through some of the science, the experiments, one of the science teams, they're experimenting on a new strain of fungi that they managed to procure that was on Nolia. It could have medicinal properties to it.
And I will isolate the biological markers and cross-reference it with the medical database.
You do that, and it takes you quite a while to start cross-referencing it. In fact, the computer is going on begins a long workload as it goes through the entire Starfleet medical database for the common genetic modifier or common genomes of what this particular fungus could be used for medicinal applications. It will take approximately 16 hours to complete.
I will set the computer to run that and probably head to Starbase.
The Strand. You're currently in your office going through the daily reports.
Okay.
Give me Insight Con, difficulty of 1.
Oh, I hate you so much right now. I'll take a momentum. Oh, wow.
And you were
The
worried.
luck.
You were worried. 3 momentum gained. As you're going through the reports, you notice that a couple crew members, the junior grade officers, got into a bit of scuffle in the promenade. It was quickly handled by security while Sarissa was away. They're currently being scheduled for disciplined, and since Sarissa's not just will be recently returning to active duty soon, it falls upon you to figure out what the disciplinary action would be. How would you like to handle these young officers? We got into for most intents and purposes, a brawl among each other in 10 forward.
Wait, it was between the two of them?
Yeah. Some sort of argument, and then they duked it out.
And their current location is, I'm guessing,
They're in the brig.
holding cell or something?
They're
Yeah.
in the brig.
All right, so I guess I'll head down to the brig to talk to him.
You head down the brig. You enter the brig. There's currently 2 junior officers. They're fairly young. Both of them are ensign in rank.
Okay.
Security guard is like standing there, careful watch, and they seem to be sulking in their jail cell.
And you said they're security, right?
No, they're not security. I didn't say what part. The security officer, there's currently a security officer guarding them.
Oh, okay. Do I know what department they're in?
Insight command, difficulty 1.
Okay. Okay. Sure.
Is this better or worse than what you just did?
It's better, but only by 2 points. I'll take a momentum for it.
One of the officers appears to be part of the flight department. He works essentially the graveyard shift.
Okay.
The other one works in operations, works the same shift as he does, the other officer.
Okay. Okay. I'm gonna signal the security guard to let down the force field.
He acknowledges and turns it off. They both kind of look up, noticing the hum is gone. And then they immediately stand at attention. Sir.
Ensigns, it appears that you two got into a bit of a fight yesterday.
Yes, sir.
Mind telling me what it was about?
Both of them look at each other. A personal grievance, sir.
Does it attend to any of your professional duties?
They both kind of answer, "No, sir."
Then, in that case, you know that normally while we're on Starbase, everybody here gets to go on to the Starbase for a little bit of shore leave. However, for you two, that will not be the case. You will be reporting to the security department and doing a full diagnostic, and I mean a level 1 diagnostic, on the complete armory inventory during our time here in Starbase 200. That includes while you are on duty during your overnight shifts. If this becomes a problem, again, I suggest the next time you two take it to the holodeck rather than having it out in 10 forward.
They both kind of look at you curious, like, of course, sir.
I will have Ensign Ferrick there to walk you through the first of the diagnostics just to make sure you know exactly how it is supposed to be done.
Yes, sir.
You're free to go from the brig, but do not step foot on the Starbase, and if I hear a peep out of you two, I'll make sure that you are both busted to crewmen next time.
Yes, sir.
Dismissed.
And the two ensigns kind of sulk their heads and walk out of the brig.
I'll turn to the security officer. You think that'll keep them busy and out of trouble for a while?
Don't get too many visitors here anyway, sir.
I figured. Well, I had to do something to make them think twice about fighting against each other. All right.
If you want a
Thanks
suggestion,
again.
sir, you could always make him do mandatory team building exercises for the next 6 weeks.
Well, yeah, I could. But first offense that I've had to deal with. Mandatory team exercises might be more when it's like a full-fledged brawl between, oh, I don't know, 2 or 3 squads of people.
Noted, sir.
Oh, I gotta get back to these reports. Thanks a lot. I'm guessing it's an ensign.
Lieutenant.
Thanks a lot, Lieutenant.
Of course, sir.
Any idea when Sarissa's gonna be back?
I have not gotten the report yet, but hopefully soon.
All right. I'll be in my office. Forward me any incidents if need be until she gets back.
Of course, sir. To be honest, sir, don't dig your head too deep in reports. You might get lost in them. Makes a slight joke, grabbing like a Type 2 phaser to begin sterilizing the brig holding cells.
Understood. And I'll leave the brig and basically type out my disciplinary action on my pad and forwarded it to the commander. Basically to the captain.
All right. And scene change as we go to the next scene. Thatton, as you begin to start walking out of the promenade for your scheduled meeting with Commander Solon. You start walking past another large crowd, and sort of in the middle of the promenade sits an elderly woman with tattoo markings across her face. As you proceed to walk past her, she goes, "You will not find what you seek there."
I beg your pardon?
You will not find what you seek there. It's within your aura. I can see it.
My aura raised an
Yes.
eyebrow.
You seem lost without purpose.
He opens his mouth like he's going to say something and then closes it. He tries to think if he recognizes the species. Like if you've ever met it before.
Insight, con difficulty 2.
You know what? I'll throw a bit of momentum at this. 3 momentum. Ooh.
Barely got it. It is the Aqui. They are a nomadic species, highly religious. Occasionally, they're found wandering the galaxy. Few Federation ships. Mainly, they refer to their homeworld as Zykuri, but roughly translation, it also means religious ground.
Like sacred site, holy ground.
Yeah.
And the species is known for having, are they known for having psionic potential, or is this a, or similar ability?
It's unclear. Because of their nomadic nature, cultural databases are very thin on that. Most encounters are mere passing, or while they're on like at a starbase for a brief passing.
I presume they're not a Federation member. They're just a independent nomadic species.
They're an independent nomadic species. They're not violent. They're very, they're pacifist type deal.
From the tattoos, can I gather? What is the significance of that? Is that like a rank marking or a caste thing?
It is unclear. It is believed that it's some cultural belief or some science or can't think of the name. Anthropologists believe that it could be the tattoos indicate the level of enlightenment they supposedly yearn for. And she seems to be quietly covered in tattoos on her face with different symbols and whatnot.
Well, ma'am, I would hesitate to correct you out of politeness. However, I must say that 2 things. One, not all who wander are lost, and in my case, it's not so much that I'm lost. I simply have 2 paths before me, and it's a matter of choosing which one to go, ultimately. Speaking of, is there any way I can help you, ma'am? You seem to be, unless you're applying your advisory to the general public.
I am admiring a join myself as I gaze upon those that wander around this place.
Very well.
And when you look at her, like, her eyes are solid white.
Do you need any assistance, ma'am?
I may be blind, but I still can see. What sort of assistance are you offering me, young one?
It's nice to be called that. Well, there are some. I was worried that you weren't able to navigate on your own, but if I was going to offer to summon one of the younger officers and crew around to help guide you if you wanted, but if you're perfectly fine without assistance, I won't impose it.
I quite enjoy myself sitting here. I was merely offering my interpretation upon your aura. I see now, though, that you are determined. Choose wisely on the path ahead.
Travel safely, ma'am.
You as well, but roads that are often traveled most harshly are the ones that are most rewarding.
Ma'am? He'll nod to her and then carry on.
And after some time walking out of the promenade, you meet up with the commander at the station shuttle bay.
Solon, thank you for indulging me.
It is agreeable to see you again, Mr. Thatton.
Yes, I did have. This is partly a social call and partly a not, I suppose. So, but first, before we get into it, let me see if we can get ourselves a shuttle that's worth flying. I hope that we're not stuck with a Type 8. Or heaven forbid if they still have the Galileos lying around somewhere. He starts walking around to look for a flight officer to get a shuttle from.
In the earlier part of my career, I found the Galileos to be quite capable aircraft.
A brick of the same size would be adequate as well, but no shield, barely any shield generating, no self-defense weaponry, a big ol' empty space behind you. Great if you're a bus, not so great if you actually want to do anything beyond that.
Perhaps, but simplistic in design, simple to modify, very adaptable.
They still use them as for tour flights back on Kate. I mean, reliable things, but I don't think I'd ever want to fly one.
I was under the impression that many non-Vulcan species enjoyed what is called nostalgia.
Yeah, I hold no nostalgia for the Galileo. A bit before my time, anyway. I mean, I still like the old Type 8s myself. Well, not the Type 8, but he waves his hand like he's trying to remember. Right, it's the Type 7 I dislike. The Type little bulbous little things. Type 8s are pretty okay. Type 9s are a bit much. A little too touchy, but I guess when you're worrying about the Borg and everything else, one needs a more nimble craft.
Agreed. But as an engineer, I find it relaxing to have vessels that need routine maintenance. Gives a sense of purpose.
The two of you walk up to a flight controller. Commander and Ganat, sir, how can I help you?
Hello, I'd like to request a use of one of your shuttles for a bit of a recreational flight between myself and Commander Solon here. I'm a Thatton. If possible, if you have one to spare, I would enjoy flying one of your runabouts if possible, or a Delta Flyer if they've come into circulation here.
Delta. I'm not familiar with that type of craft, sir, but all our runabouts are currently engaged on patrol activities. We do have a Type 9 available for you, but I'm not authorized to lend those shuttles out to civilians.
He looks over and raises an eyebrow at Solon.
Perhaps you can allow the commanding officer of the Tenshi an opportunity to take one out.
Of course, kind of types up. I just need, your authorization here, sir. Kind of hands you the pad.
Yeah, Salon does whatever it is he needs to do.
And you get the authorization, and then he shows you to the Type 9 shuttle. And the two of you enter and begin your little cruise around the Starbase.
I'm going to do a quick internal scan of the shuttle to see if there's any, and the computer system to see if there's any internal recording that isn't part of the flight recorder. Seeing if anyone's trying to spy on our conversation.
Insight security difficulty 1.
Throw momentum at it. Oh.
Get the momentum back. No, there are no spy equipment on board the ship or the shuttlecraft, other than the internal official Starfleet recording, material for black box information.
Yeah. Flight path nominal. Maintaining 1/4 impulse. And we're just going to do a nice leisurely loop around just inside the perimeter. I don't want to spook the defense grid. No need to make their life harder. How's the engine doing there, Solon?
It's operating within normal parameters.
Good. I wanted to ask you in a private manner a couple things. I don't know if you've been told, but I have been offered or requested to return back to service. And I was pointedly told that the commanding officer post was open on the Tenshi. But before I'm considering my career, and I wanted to have your insight. I know we haven't really been friends or really served for a long reach with each other, but I do respect your intellect and your experience.
You are correct that the command position on the Tenshi has not been filled. I've been curious at the delay of the assignment of a new captain.
he smiles and just shakes his head. Do you have an ambitious bone in your body, Solon? Do you ever think of maybe applying for the command post yourself? You have the relevant experience, the correct rank. You even push for a promotion after all your bit of heroics over in the Mirrorverse. Or against the Mirrorverse, I should say.
After 150 years in Starfleet, I see no reason to hurry. When I accepted this position as your first officer, I did it intentionally at Vice Admiral Patterson's recommendation at Utopia Planatia. He felt that before I took the captain's chair, I needed to learn to see beyond logic. And during my experience as commanding the Tenshi, I seemed that I agree with it. I would not turn down the captain's chair were it offered to me. And I had anticipated learning the art of being a starship captain from someone as experienced as you are. I had reviewed your personnel file when the position was offered to me. I was disappointed when you resigned your commission. I feel that it is a loss to Starfleet, and if I were to be a selfish being, a loss to myself as well. There's much I feel that I could learn under your tutelage, Captain. Mr. Upton.
What is your evaluation of Starfleet of today compared to the Starfleet you signed up for? See, I'm worried that our Starfleet is starting to turn militant over the years between the Dominion War, the Cardassian Wars, the Borg, and now the Archon, the Tholians, the Terrans. Well, Terran Empire. He waves his hand. I don't know if we're going to be able to, if we're shifting away from those good old days of exploring the stars.
It is true that Starfleet was much more exploratory when I began my career. And Starfleet has changed. There was noticeable change. Perhaps some didn't see it because it was incremental over time. But my time aboard the Bozeman, particularly when we were trapped in the temporal anomaly, allowed for a different perspective on changes. I think you're correct that Starfleet is more militaristic. However, it is due to the circumstances. It's due to the invasion of the Borg. It is due to the war with the Dominion. And if things can stabilize, it is an opportunity to return to our roots as explorers. However, I do believe that Starfleet needs experienced officers with a desire to return to exploration, if that's going to happen. If experienced officers such as yourself resign Starfleet, particularly for reasons you've cited, then that will not facilitate a return to our exploration routes.
I didn't resign for that. I resigned because I lost confidence in myself. As I said before, that was no lie. That was weeks ago. But with the planet attack, I found out that I'm not the sort of citizen that is happy to open up a little restaurant on Kate and just live peacefully. Go sailing or rock climbing or something. Just not in me. I'd be doing something. But I wanted to get a gauge of two things from you. One, how much you wanted the command of the Tenshi. If you wanted to pursue being a captain, I'd support you in it. And if you needed my expertise, I would offer myself as a tactical advisor, a civil advisor or consult with the Tenshi. I have enough pull, I could manage it. But if you want a captain and you're willing to follow me on my, dare I say, my grand mission to change Starfleet, even if that does anger some of our superiors, I offered that as well. But if you want to make the Tenshi your way, make your career your way, then I'll help you do that and advise you on that path. But if you want to join me in my efforts, then to the Tenshi I'll go as a captain. I do not enjoy poaching positions from my junior officers if they feel the need or the ambition for it. I am experienced enough in Starfleet that I know I can get pretty much anything I apply for these days. Apparently, being a war veteran, after much to my annoyance, eventually I accrued enough battle time. Shakes his head. So I ask, what is it you desire? Or prefer? Sorry, desire is the wrong word.
I do prefer at some date to take command of a starship. And the Tenshi is a good ship. But I am dedicated to the ideals of Starfleet. And I find myself in agreement with you that Starfleet does need to return to its roots. I am nostalgic for my days on the Yorktown and the Bozeman. It would be a benefit to Starfleet to return to some of those ways. I will take the captain's chair if it is offered. I will eventually sit in it as the captain. Vulcans are long-lived, Mr. Thatton. I have plenty of time. It would be illogical and selfish to be a stumbling block in your path to return to your appropriate destiny.
The alternative was to take up civil service through the diplomatic corps and make myself annoying to Starfleet that way. But returning to, if I know that my XO is on board with my plan, then I know I can lead the Tenshi and be an exemplar to the rest of the fleet. And maybe, just maybe, fight my way to Admiralty and try to change things. It's like riding against a stellar wave or a supernova shock. It's just not impossible, but it's easier if someone else is in the shuttle with you when you're doing it.
Clearly. Now I confess I am unsure whether Commander the Strand will be disappointed or relieved if we return to the original status. He has been serving as my executive officer.
It was on my short list. We'll definitely keep him as third officer if I once I return back.
He has done a satisfactory job, though. To be fully transparent, we're not compatible is the wrong word, but both of us being former engineers does provide a lack of balance on the bridge.
I would more say that it was you had a focus of speciality. It doesn't hurt to have specialists on a ship. Although I suppose for a C&E ship, I guess your ship would have been assigned to more engineering work in that event. For good and ill.
Certainly have the expertise for
it. We've reached nav point 2, coming about. There we go.
But if I might ask, if you return to the captain's chair, will you have the pull to meet your goals?
Will I have the what, sorry?
Will you have the pull with Starfleet to meet your goals? Your goal is to help Starfleet return to exploratory. Where can you best accomplish that goal? In the captain's chair or serving as an ambassador?
If I have officers of same mind of my ship, of a ship, then it's easier to push that way, much as Kirk or Pike back in the day. They helped shape what Starfleet was by the exemplar of their ships. They showed what everyone else was supposed to be doing out there, what was the best thing to do. we need to become that ship. We need to become that exemplar for everyone else to return. That means that we'll have to do things that Starfleet that will usually they'll probably get us, well, myself and yourself, in trouble with our superiors, especially if they disagree with us. A lot of change can happen there. But if I was going to a ship to an officer who either wanted my post, which I don't hold grudge against, ambition's not a bad thing, or one who disagreed with me, then there's nothing for it. It's a ship working against itself. If I was an ambassador, there are ways to do that. If I had enough political pull, I'd have to develop it, take time. That's why I'd want to take time on the Tenshi to be an advisor or ambassador of some variety, and work my way up from there. But it looks like captaincy is the way to go. If at least you're on board. Everyone else I'll have to just convince us with as time goes on if they disagree with me. The command branch is to lead, everyone else is to follow, but they're not obligated to follow. They can simply transfer if they really dislike my plan. But I think I can make change. It just means some careers might be a little stunted if my gamble goes sideways. Not such a problem for you and me, but it might be more of a problem for our subordinates.
I have noticed that the crew is quite loyal to you. I think you will not find that to be an issue. And I will take your post someday, sir. But only after logic dictates that I learn all that I can from you before I do so. I have not accomplished that task.
No big deal, just a self-appointed directive to change Starfleet from a single ship.
If the early days of my career teach us anything, it is that a single ship often can make the most difference. The Enterprise itself is a prime example of that.
Which one? They're up to E now, aren't they? And he'll start taking the shuttle back to Starbase.
And you dock the shuttle and return it back in the capable hands of the flight crew on Starbase 200. Where are the two of you going?
To war. I mean, yeah, they're empty.
That's a rather bold statement.
Phasers in hand, we'll just seize Starbase 200. It worked for StarX. He had a whole fleet with him, though. But yes. Hello, Commander. I think I have to make a meeting with the Admiralty's office and make arrangements. We'll see about when I get pulled on board. What are you intending to do with your day? Solon?
I guess I lost connection there for a second.
Oh.
The Vulcan lost concentration for a minute.
Well, we're back at Starbase now, and I'm about to head up to the Admiralty's office, but I was wondering what you were going to be up to with the rest of your day.
I have not decided. I do have reports to complete.
My advice, take some personal time aboard Starbase. My estimation of if this far Terran friends, our Imperial friends, want to keep up their belligerence, we'll have to take what leisure time we can.
Ironic, I was going to make the same suggestion to Commander Thishran.
I'd make it in order. He seems the sort who will sequester himself in engineering if you let him.
When I left the ship, he was sequestered in his office, learning the job of first officer.
I'd appreciate it. Well, it hasn't been 100% confirmed yet, but have a talk with him. Make sure that he knows that if he wants an XO post elsewhere, we can I can probably pull some strings for him with recommendations. But if he wants to stay on, he's more than welcome to. He's a bit of a maverick, to put it politely, a bit unconventional, but he's a good engineer. I'd hate to boot him off simply because he's unconventional.
I understand.
I'm not sure you do, Mr. Solon, but nice of you to lie.
Sometimes following Starfleet protocol is not the most logical course of action. As I discovered recently, sometimes the most logical course of action is the wrong choice.
Perhaps, but when a force flouts its own laws too readily, you end up with a much scarier entity. Though I don't think he's quite at that point yet, so long as he's guided on the right path by his seniors.
Indeed. Perhaps both me and Commander Thishran still have quite a bit to learn. I'll make my instruction your job and his instruction mine.
As it should be. Good day, Commander.
Good day, Captain.
You're gonna get me charged with pretending to be a captain. I haven't gotten it yet. He waves and starts walking off. It's a findable offense, you know.
As the two of you go your separate ways, Ogle, you've entered the promenade.
All right. Vogel's plan is to do a little window shopping and then probably grab a bite to eat.
You journey about doing a little window shopping, and then you hear sort of a commotion at sort of a secondhand shop with Ferengi markings on it.
Always with the Ferengi. I'll check it out.
As you head towards, seems to be the Ferengi is having an argument with a humanoid person with strange tattoos along their face. Appear fairly young.
I will get within earshot so I can listen.
Cannot have this part with just mere trinkets from some unknown god-awfully planet. I require gold pressed platinum if you wish to have it. Take these things away. But this is all I have. We need this part. Please. Don't you have compassion? No, lady, I have profit on the mind. This is not going to make me profit. But the world is not simply. The universe does not work among greed and consumption. And the two continue to argue. She pleads with the Ferengi.
I'll step up closer. Like, is there something I can help you with?
This is a minor dispute, Starfleet. It's business. But she clearly does not understand the monetary value of gold pressed platinum. It's just,
Not every culture does.
all we ask for is a simple power converter.
What do you need a power converter for?
To convert our computer core, or the power for our computer core and all of our replicators we have on board. It's without it would be difficult to fly the ship and get to where we need to go.
And I'll turn to the Ferengi. What's wrong with what they're trying to trade you?
They're mere worthless trinkets.
May I? And I'll point to the trinkets with my tricorder.
Reason plus science, difficulty of 2.
I'll use the momentum. Sensor ops for a focus for the tricorder?
No, I would take like metallurgy or something like along those lines.
All right. It was a long shot.
You do get a momentum. They are kind of trinkets in a way. The some of the jewels are made out of like precious minerals like rubies and diamonds, and well, not diamonds, but other crystalline type jewelry you see commonly among ancient civilizations. Shiny stuff. But most of these are fairly common, though.
Do I know anything about the species that is trying to trade?
Insight con or command difficulty 2.
Uh,
Let's make it 3. It's a threat.
all right, I'll use the momentum and give you the 2 threat back.
You realize there's, it's a very brief from your academy days of a species called the Aqui. They are a nomadic spacefaring tribe. Most of the species are born, grow up on the ships, and they wander essentially the galaxy. Starfleet has sporadic run-ins with them. It's very limited information on terms for religion, but the tattoos represent some sort of religious significance.
Do I recall any significant to these trinkets with their religion? As a free question for my position.
The trinkets could represent good luck and good fortune. pathways to certain enlightenment, depending on how the trinket is made. They are very much cultural relevant.
Right.
And that's what makes them precious to them and not so much to other species.
I'll turn to the Ferengi. You know, there are many museums that would love to have a piece like this in their exhibits. And I'm sure many of them would pay you handsomely for any trinkets from, and I'll name the species. These are rare.
With that, this will be extended task to negotiate with the Ferengi. Presence plus command, difficulty 2, work 12, magnitude 3, resistance of 1.
Up if I have my sheet set up right. It's a difficulty 2.
Yep, difficulty 2.
Oh, I'll give you 3 threat to try to build some momentum here.
I will spend 2 of that to up the complication range by 1.
Ouch.
You do get a momentum, and there is a complication on the table. Resistance goes up by 2.
Okay.
So resistance 3. 5 challenge dice. Currently, that is no work being done as the Ferengi is constantly arguing with you. No, no, no. What do you mean these belong in a museum? How can I sell this to a museum? That does not work. There's no profit in this.
Many museum curators will pay handsomely for archaeological finds for an enterprising individual like yourself. Yeah, no, I'm just role playing with you.
Yeah, no, I'm just asking if the dice challenge. Do you wish to reroll the 2 zeros or spend a
No, I'm gonna keep the momentum.
Okay. Difficulty 3 still.
Can I spend my determination with the value never forget where you come from as I'm trying to help these people out in this? You know, something I would have been taught at home.
I will take that, but more based on how you found Annika.
Okay.
I think that would be more co-inspire with that.
Okay. But I have to show them, recommend that hollow novel.
Five challenge dice.
Get a momentum, right? Because that's 3 successes.
Yes. So yeah, difficulty was 2.
Oh man. 1 to reroll 4. That's better.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 4 work.
1 for the extra work.
5 difficulty 1. Breakthrough. I see your relevance of trying to get this to a museum, but there are no museums on Ferenginar. Cannot sell this to Ferengi culture.
Well, of course, they're going to have to expand your operation. Why look just on Ferenginar? Why not look at some of the Earth museums, some of the Vulcan museums? And then who knows, you might be able to get a contact out of that for other material goods that you could potentially gain on your travels.
Presence command difficulty 1.
Take a threat.
Spending that +1 for complication increase.
Man,
It's still a nat 20.
I know.
5 challenge dice. Complication rate goes up by 1 on the next task roll.
Okay. Hey, that's really good.
It's 5, so that is enough for a breakthrough. You know, I'm gonna spend some threat to keep the difficulty at 1.
All right, take a threat.
Get a momentum. 5 challenge dice.
And I'll use that for the extra.
Doesn't
Don't need
matter.
it.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It completes the task. Fine. I'll take these valuable trinkets, I suppose. You better give me a worthy contact, Starfleet. I hope it's very lucrative. These power cores don't come cheap.
I understand you need to make a profit off of your investment. And I'll download a few names of some contacts that I potentially know.
All right. And hands the power converter to the lady. And he takes the trinkets and places them in gets a crate out, and then delicately places the artifacts in the crate, close it and seals it, fragile, decors it up a bunch. Thank you. I am Nisha. For whom do I have the pleasure for this?
I am Lieutenant Vogel. And it was my pleasure to help.
Thank you so much. Please. And then she kind of reaches out of her bag. Take this as a token of my gratitude. You've done a great service for us.
I will be honored. Thank you.
She places the necklace above your head, and the little, what looks like a tiny, crystal, it starts to glow a little bit when she puts it on, and she stops and looks at you like, you have been blessed. Thank you so much. And she takes the power converter and runs off.
I'll take what they gave me and put it in a pocket and continue my stroll. Or at this point, probably looking for a nice little restaurant.
High or low?
Let's go low. Boo.
You know what? As you're walking down, you notice Sarissa currently enjoying some coffee at what appears to be a nice cafe La Fusion.
Such a fun name.
It sounds like something a Ferengi would make up. Lieutenant, mind if I join you?
Oh, not at all. Please do. Trish is actually still wearing that necklace she got.
And you do indeed notice the necklace when you join her.
I see you've had the pleasure of meeting our guest.
Which guess?
Whatever. What's her rate's name again?
The key. A Cree. Something like that.
The Aki.
Oh, I thought you were meaning specific person. Yes. I found a child. It helps them find their friends. I guess they were fairly thankful for that. They wouldn't exactly let me say no to getting this either. She looked like she was about to cry.
seems like this might have some cultural relevance, and I pull out the trinket that I have in my pocket.
Ah,
I helped one negotiate with a rather unscrupulous Ferengi for a power converter a little while ago.
that sounds like every Frankie.
I'm not sure exactly what these are worth, but I was able to convince him to attempt to sell them to a museum.
Well, good work. I know Ferengi are uh, difficult to negotiate with. The last time we tried, it was well, we were on a Tereshkova then.
I remember, I think there was liquor involved too.
Yes, quite a lot actually. More for them than for us.
Luckily, this time liquor was not required.
Moving up in the world?
Not really.
Anyway, this place has, well, good coffee for one.
Not much of a coffee drinker myself.
Well, they did have insert French name cream-based dish here that I don't know about actually. If that is more to your taste.
Not really, I've never really had French cuisine, but I guess we're out here for a reason.
I got acquainted with a lot of different human cultures' foods when I was based at San Francisco. Sushi's quite nice.
Well, I'm willing to try whatever you recommend.
We will get one of those. It's like some cream fish dish is what I'm imagining. I just don't know the name and couldn't pronounce it for the life of me if I did know the name. They're all obnoxiously French and fancy. No, the actual food.
Moments pass by. A waiter comes up and asks you for your drinks or what you like to drink, and then well as like any other dishes or a light meal of some kind.
I'll order the espadon. Apparently, it means swordfish.
Better. Oh, let me try and pronounce this. Salmon Loseo?
Oui, oui. And he walks off to get the food.
That's probably not the worst pronunciation this waiter's ever heard.
Oh, yes. Well, if he speaks French, it might have been translated for him.
This is true.
Just said it so badly the translator kicked in. Oh, good.
Yep.
It probably helps that she's pointing at the picture or whatever.
Oh, when I was in Ecuador to order anything down there, that's basically what it was. I want this.
Sacre bleu, they cannot speak French.
I'm a cat person. What do you expect?
Someone needs to take some linguistic courses, I think.
This is not my purview. Anyway, how was your relaxing time been, Vogel?
I just got done with setting up an experiment I'm running on the Tenshi, so just starting really.
Well, I did everything I wanted to do. There wasn't much. Which, oh, look at that. Kate didn't have any problems, really. The fleet intercepted them well before they reached the planet, and the Defense Force didn't do anything either. So, everyone I know there is safe.
Well, that's some good news.
Hmm. Well, we already knew about the Klingons coming to help.
The Klingons joined in.
Hmm. Uh, they joined the Klingon fleet, joined our task force during the battle to fight off the Tholians. It is a little bit far from their territory, but we're allies. Think the official reasoning, if I recall correctly, was they were on a it was a drill or a parade or something like that.
You'd think after a Klingon victory, they would be in the moods to celebrate. With 200 being close to the front lines, you'd think this place would be a lot louder.
Or they just went to Kate. I could look it up, maybe. Maybe. It might. I say maybe because it might be one of those hush hush things at the moment.
Still, glad the Klingons were here to help us out again.
They are useful to have around. I've never really interacted with too many Klingons, though, if I'll be honest.
Nor have I. I just read some of the briefings from the Dominion War.
Uh, I got a lot of reports from that, but you didn't exactly see them on Earth. Which is possibly for the best. I don't know how a Klingon would do on Earth.
I'm not sure how Earth would handle a Klingon.
I don't want to think too much about that. I am sure there would be some challenge issued somewhere by someone. Though, from the stories I hear about, what do you call it? The Deep South, the Klingons might enjoy it there.
Perhaps it might remind them of some of their deserts back home. Although I think they have more cold weather climates than warm
Oh,
weather.
I was thinking more the drinking and hunting.
Perhaps Africa for that.
Oh, true. God, they would, though.
I mean, that's where the big game is.
No, Japan.
Oh, yeah.
Right, the debriefing went well. Well, air quotes. No trouble.
At least
You'll
we're.
notice that the hostilities between the Tholians and the Starfleet and Klingon forces have stopped. So,
Oh, yes, that was a thing. Wars holding ceasefire. I think it's a ceasefire. I think that's the official stance of ceasefire.
Well, at least this one's going to be a short one as opposed to the Dominion War.
I would not like to see another thing on that scale. I would hope not for my lifetime.
I just wish this bloodshed will stop. I feel like ever since we've got out here, it's been nothing but constant conflict. Or at least in the time I've been in Starfleet.
Uh, yes. No, you're not wrong. It's same for me. I think if I had to guess, or guess, remember, I both. I am not particularly overly acquainted with your record. I think we've been serving about the same amount of time.
About that, yes.
I think you've just had more ship service than I have.
Not really. My
Or
first assignment
space.
was destroyed in the Dominion War, and I was lost in space for the rest of it.
Oh, I was on an O berth. Eh, and then not on an O berth. We were on San Francisco, so planet side, which is a lot calmer than being lost in space, except for the whole Bryn thing. But that was once.
Yeah, I was on the Hansu during one of the major engagements. I think this was when the Brain first joined the war. But anyway, the ship was lost and they started shooting the escape pods in space. If it wasn't for the lure's eye, I would have been killed along the rest of my crew.
I did hear that the Dominion did that a lot. And, well, you've heard it all before. I imagine hearing it from me now, years later, won't help anything. But, well, we've got the Tenshi now. And peace, at least with the Tholians, so that's over. We can see if things will be different from here. But peace, ceasefire, hopefully peace. Ceasefire's a good start.
Just hopefully the diplomatic corps can actually hammer out a lasting peace agreement.
Uh, we'll find out.
And
Anyway,
as the two of you are talking, the waiter returns with your food. Gives us like nod and bon appetit. Walks off.
thank you.
Has been a while since I've had swordfish.
That name always throws me a little bit. Sorry. I remember why you call it that. It just.
Would you like some?
I would not be opposed to trying some. I have salmon, which I think you would have had some before, but you're more than welcome to try this dish.
Oh yeah, salmon is a local delicacy for me. But we'll see if they can do it justice here. And I'll split half of my swordfish.
Crew commits sacrilege to the waiter watching. I'm sure. Yeah, we'll split half the other dish as well. The salmon, whatever that I will not try to pronounce again. Uh, so I know they are called the Aki. That's what the little girl told me. But they had tattoos. Well, she had tattoos, and the other ones I saw had tattoos. Do you know anything more about them than I do?
From what I understood, just doing a quick research on them, it appears the tattoos represent some type of religious symbol.
Huh. I know she said they spend well, they live on ships. Oh, she said they live on ships, but then they also, when she was giving me this, said the necklace was from their homeworld.
At any rate, they do seem like a fascinating species.
They seem very generous, really. I mean, I would expect if they don't have much from their home world, giving away these necklaces would be, well, quite something. Unless I misunderstand and they can go to their home world, they just don't live on it.
I
Yeah,
don't.
that's.
Maybe I'll dig into the cultural database some more.
If you don't mind, I probably could, but I am not the best at figuring out looking through cultural databases.
Yeah, maybe before I turn in for the evening, I'll do a little light research. Maybe pull up a couple files for you and send them to you.
I would appreciate that. Ah, I mean, you can always ask for anything back, but I don't imagine there's much I can do for you. I just keep the people from hurting you, and that is kind of my job.
Well, perhaps I'll show you some of the finer points of digging through a cultural database. Never know when a little background information would be of a huge help.
No, and we've got time to learn. If you wanted to know how to look through tactical data, or better look through tactical data, or little pointers for it, rather, I can always help with that, but.
I'm sure I could use some refreshers on phaser usage.
Ah, yes.
But that could be for a different day. What is this sauce?
Ah, you can try to pronounce it.
Whatever it is, it's good.
What do they call it? Yes, whatever. I'm not going to say what they call it. It is, in plain speaking words that are easy to understand. For the salmon one is creamy fish sauce. Basically just milk. Flavored milk.
Flavored.
As the two of you enjoy your meal and talking about alien cultures, going over. So the Shran is on the bridge of the Tenshi currently. The Shran, you're sitting there looking at reading reports from the ship, rather boring and mundane throughout the day. Ops officer kind of stretches a little bit, then looks at the console like, oh, Commander, we got a request that uh, all the senior staff aboard the Tenchies to meet at Shuttle Bay 1 at 0900 tomorrow morning. Per request, Admiral Nea.
Wow. Okay. Make sure the senior staff that are on leave are notified. I'll make sure the captain knows when he gets back.
Yes, sir.
Other than that, how's the ship looking for its next departure?
Uh, we're fully stocked, sir, and um, all maintenance crews check out.
Alright. Oh, good grief, I'm trying to remember. Yeah, I need to ask that. Did the message from Starbase mention what type of uniforms or anything like that?
It was not specified, sir.
Good. I'll make sure. It's standard duty uniform then. Hate those dress uniforms.
You don't think it's a test, though, do you, sir? Maybe we should wear
I
dress
don't.
uniforms.
I don't believe so. I mean, even though it is an admiral coming on board, they didn't specify. I haven't heard anything from the captain yet. Of course, the captain probably doesn't even know yet. But I'd rather not be the only one standing there in a dress uniform. So until I'm told otherwise, I'll just assume it's the standard duty uniform.
Understood, sir.
Oh, any idea when the captain will be back from his tour with a Thatton?
I believe he just reported on board the ship not that long ago, sir. We're also quite well into beta shift now. Perhaps he's probably getting ready to turn in for the evening.
Perhaps. And I will agree with that sentiment. I am about to do so as well, but all this silly paperwork that a first officer has to go through.
I will push the notification to their pad about the notice for the meeting with Admiral Nea in the morning in the shuttle bay.
All right. Sure. Going ahead and do that. And out of character, I'm trying to remember if the Tenshi had taken structure damage before coming into 200.
You've been at Starbase 200 for a long time, so any repairs that you did take are gone, or like any damage is gone. So
Okay. Well, I guess I will go ahead and turn in for the night. I got 3 more pages of this report to go through, and this boring as all get out.
very well, sir. Gamma shift should be arriving soon.
Agreed. You have a good night.
You too, sir.
And with that, he's basically gonna be headed towards the turbo lift and to his quarters.
Lieutenant Commander, the Shran, I see you in the ready room for a moment before you turn in.
Of course, Captain. And he will head to the ready room and wait for the captain to show up.
Thank you. I know your shift is done. I'm sure you're ready for some relaxation. And what I have to tell you is, should remain in this room for the moment.
Okay, I wasn't aware that we had any secret orders coming from command.
We do not. There is. I wanted to tell you this personally. First off, I find that your performance as first officer has been more than satisfactory. But I wanted you to know that in speaking with Mr. Thatton, there is a good possibility that he will return to Starfleet as the captain of the Tenshi.
Well, that is good news.
I believe it is beneficial to both Starfleet and the ship. I wanted to inform you personally, because if that happens, I would be resuming my position as first officer.
Which is perfectly understandable, sir. I guess that would require me to resume my post back in engineering.
That is affirmative. You would be, of course, second officer aboard the ship. However, if your brief experience as an executive officer has facilitated the motivation for a more command position, that and I would be willing to arrange for a first officer's post for you elsewhere. That would not be the ideal situation for the ship. You are an excellent engineer, but neither of us would want to stand in the way of your career advancement.
I perfectly understand that, sir. I hadn't really given it much thought. I didn't expect the, that Thatton would ever be returning to service. He seemed to resign, and that was that. So I never gave returning to engineering much thought. I haven't even really considered taking a first officer's post on any other ship yet. I mean, I always expected that there would be another captain assigned here and we would be rotated back to our original positions and everything like that. But
that was what I was anticipating as well. I had considered only two possibilities: that we would be assigned another captain, or that my promotion would be made permanent, at which point I would have offered you a permanent position as my executive officer. But it appears that there is a good possibility that Althat will return, and we will both return to our former positions. I just wanted you to hear it from me.
I understand. Sorry.
Are you satisfied with returning as the chief engineer, or have you decided that, having served for a brief period as a first officer, that is a career path you desire?
Sir, with this being a sudden choice, I believe I should at least take at least until the meeting tomorrow morning with Admiral Ney, which has been called in the shuttle bay at 0900, to think about it and have my decision ready for you then.
That is most logical. I should say that while I do not wish to stand in the way of any career ambitions you have, I believe it would be in the ship's best interest to have an engineer of your quality remain on board. And I would be willing to help you prepare for eventual advancement to executive officer. If your experience being thrust to the position suddenly is similar to mine, becoming a captain so quickly, perhaps we both could spend a little more, how the humans say it, seasoning before we take up further command positions. But the choice is yours. I will see. There we went. Seem to have lost communication with my first officer.
I lost connection. I'm back.
Are they both the same?
Hold on a second.
I will take your advice into consideration, sir. And I thank you for being willing to at least train me in the role of a first officer. However,
On the bottom.
I am not in the habit of making immediate decisions.
That is very wise.
Is that something you need?
I will join you in the morning at the briefing.
I will have an answer for you by then, sir.
Very good. Dismiss, Commander.
Thank you, sir.
Then Salon is going to leave orders with the beta ship to make sure the ship is inspection ready, have ops communicate with Admiral Nea's office to find out get an idea of the nature of the meeting in the morning, so we have an idea of which uniforms to wear. And then Salon will head off to meditate / sleep in his office, in his quarters himself.
Very well. As you're doing elsewhere, the Admiral's aide guides you to her office where she's still currently burning the midnight oil.
I'll chime the door.
Enter.
Yeah, wasn't sure you're gonna still be in the office.
One thing I missed about being a starship captain is not deal with all this paperwork. Kind of smiles briefly.
That's why you levied off at your adjunct. He smiles. Sure, they'll appreciate the extra work.
Oh, trust me, their workload is quite engaging as mine.
I wanted to talk to you about your offer earlier today.
Of course.
I'm willing to take it on, but I want to... While I'm not in uniform, I'm not in the position, I would like to put some input into fleet policy as pertains to the Tenshi and perhaps even the rest of the 10th at your discretion, but the Tenshi in particular, since that's the ship I'll be commanding, I presume.
Very well. I can sense this is a great concern to you, so...
I want part of our continuing mission, or to be stated as our continuing mission, to proactively engage in diplomatic and scientific exploration of our neighbors and our member worlds in this frontier. in my opinion and in my experience, this region of space has been surprised too often, and the 10th Fleet has been surprised too often and pulled into wars that it didn't need to be pulled into. Your intelligence office is fine, but unfortunately, I believe you may have been either directed from on high or advised poorly in regards to minimizing our military position. The 10th has been through has been through at least 2 wars, technically 3, in less than as many years. That worries me. And I'm worried that if we don't set an example with at least one ship to be proactive in the original mission of Starfleet, then we may lose our way and become nothing more than a Federation defense force or a Star Navy. That's not what I signed up for all those years ago, and I'm sure as heck sure that you didn't sign up for that. It's gonna mean now I don't know what your job is like dealing with the upper admirals. One day I might, but so maybe that's not something you can do fleet wide. But at least in the Tenshi, I want us to move in that direction and have that be officially one of our continuing mission. The more we're put on as a patrol vessel or a picket vessel, the less a C&E vessel it is and more a tactical vessel it is. And I'm worried that that's the direction the 10th is taking. Now, I know this is presumptuous, but I think in times of crisis, the talented have to stand up, but that doesn't mean the talented have to stand up for anything. And understand this is an insult to you. I understand this bit of space is a lot more chaotic than we thought it was ever going to be. It's one of those things where you think the Dominion War is over, everything's going to be fine, and no one's going to try to punch us in the face again. But apparently, lots of people want to punch us in the face for some reason. But we need to stop that, and I want to be part of stopping that. Even if it means we have to put on some diplomatic attaché from the Corps, or something to that effect to more enshrine it on the ship. Normally, I'd suggest the Expedition do something like this, or even the Kismet, since they're more designed for that role. But I think if any vessel definitely should. I think a C&E vessel should lead something like that. If a diplomatic ship can't, or our primary command ship can't,
it would not be very unbecoming of the 10th Fleet motto, Mr. Thatton, if we were not venturing forth into the unknown. Believe me, I have every intention of trying to regain some normalcy within at least this fleet. Though circumstances not withholding, there are times where we must pick up ourselves and do our duty to protect the Federation and all that we stand for.
My contention is that we've been facing it with gold collars rather than red, or with an absence of diplomats. I mean, name one there's only one diplomatic attaché I'm aware of across the entire fleet, and I think they're on the Kismet, of all things, which makes sense for their mission, but...
There are others within the fleet. There are others within Starfleet. But primarily, it's been the duty of starship captains to act as the diplomatic arm of the Federation at times. If this concerns you that a starship captain should not be the mere sole focus in terms of for diplomacy, then I am all ears on how to improve that.
I think we should make, as a fleet policy, the recommendation to command and to the council that, at least with the 10th, perhaps we install where once upon a time we didn't have ship counselors, perhaps installing diplomatic attachés to ensure that our captains are more well informed of larger diplomatic channels, and perhaps be reminded of their duty to be diplomats first, not combat officers. I mean, it's a funny thing to hear coming from a combat officer, but we've been too much war, and we need to change. We have to make some sort of change on a policy level, even if it is just us, even if the rest of the Starfleet doesn't agree with us. That said, if we have enough pushback, we could try doing it as a pilot program on the 10th to see if it's to make it a more primary role, relegate a lot more of the diplomatic duties, and give more power to the Federation Diplomatic Corps in these matters. Not overriding ship duty, obviously, but perhaps shifting our focus. Maybe we'll want to have a repeat of the Archon. Maybe we'll be able to maintain peaceful relations with the Tholians rather than waiting for the Corps to send out a ship with diplomats. I mean, I got lucky with the Tholians, really lucky. But I don't know how many captains have the diplomatic experience. Some aren't. I mean, even my XO is a engineer, and it's no insult to him, but he's no diplomat. I barely am, and that's just by sheer experience.
I will send a formal request to the higher ups and to the diplomatic corps to send a civilian council for aid on the Tenshi, so long as I'm assuming you're willing to return to active duty in command of the USS Tenshi. Now, in terms of relabeling the ship's function, I think that could be arranged.
What are you planning, Nia? How do you mean? I don't think I follow you.
You say yourself you'd like to get back to the roots of what we're all about. I see no reason why the Tenshi can't go off into unknown territory, seek out new life and new civilizations. Be the all-inspiring arm of the Federation and Starfleet to its highest principles. You and your crew have demonstrated that time and time again. Perhaps what we really need is to send out more ships into deep space.
I think that's the correct move, especially given our fleet motto, especially so. My understanding was this fleet was formed on the hope that with the end of the war, we could go back to being better than we were. Perhaps we can finally make progress toward that end.
Hopefully so. And I'm assuming if you're willing to take command, she pulls out a pad, fully written documents, kind of pull.
Takes the pad.
It's on the right. You read it. It's got the official notice on here by star date, blah 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 blah. That I, Captain Then, is reestablishing field commission to the full rank of captain and placing command of the USS Tenshi. Yada yada yada.
Presses his thumb to the biometric reader to sign it.
She takes the pad, puts her signature on the pad. Well, Captain Then holds out a little box, hands you 4 pips. I believe you're out of uniform.
Indeed, I am, Admiral. I'll need to requisition one from your staff, since I don't have mine. I got to keep the pips, apparently.
Of course.
Souvenirs.
And I will see you on board the USS Tenshi at 0900 tomorrow morning. I believe a little promotion ceremony is in order for one of your crew members,
Admiral
Captain.
looks at her quizzically and just kind of nods. And he'll head off to the to get himself situated and do all the other fun parts of getting his equipment ready and all of that settled before getting ready for tomorrow morning.
Is there anything else that anybody wishes to do? Oh, and dress uniform is what you get back.
Then Salon will pass that to the senior staff. 0900 shuttle bay, dress uniform required.
No.
And in his quarters, you can hear Athaton go.
That? The Shran?
Huh?
The Shran, you mean, not that?
Because
Oh,
I thought likes the dress uniform.
Sorry,
It
you hear
looks
some Shran go,
fine.
"You- Why'd they have to do that to me?
It looks fine. It's just weird to wear.
Actually, one thing I'd like to invoke, it's a weird thing to invoke, but it follows the theme of what he's pushing for. Would I be able to spend to create an advantage toward the value, even with very little, one person can achieve great things in the hope that the thing he's passing to Neo, because of his service record, it'll actually get pushed all the way to the Federation Council. Like they'll actually consider it on a wider level. Whether or not they actually do it, it's a different thing, but at least it's going to be something they talk about down the road.
Sure. Because it's a lot of paperwork she's gonna have to file to get that done.
Yeah, and that will pitch in as well on his own. Like even like he starts working on it and starts like lobbying for it to be a thing. Which means he doesn't get a lot of sleep himself because he just gave himself more work.
All right. Next morning, as all of you are gathered in the shuttle bay, also help if I can find the right. All of you are gathered in the shuttle bay, and Thatton is there sitting next to Admiral Nea, as Admiral stands at on behalf of Starfleet Command, I have ordered, and with the commission, or with Captain Athen re-enlisting his commission to Starfleet, he has been replaced back in command of the USS Tenshi, hereby on stardate 55184.7. Commander Sloan, you are ordered to relinquish your command of the USS Tenshi.
I am relieved, Admiral.
I relieve you, Commander.
I am so relieved, Captain.
Admiral, orders. Actually, I'll move a bit.
First standing order is, on behalf of Starfleet Command, I hereby promote Lieutenant Junior Grade Sarah Vogel to full lieutenant. She kind of walks up, extending her hand out. Congratulations, Lieutenant.
Thank you, man.
It's about time, Lieutenant.
Should just give a small smile while still staying at attention. Because the admiral's right there.
Yeah.
A yeoman kind of runs up holding in their hand a tray of 4 appears to be little cases. Lieutenant Vogel, stand at attention, please.
Pretty sure she already was.
She grabs one of the cases. On behalf of Starfleet, I hereby award Lieutenant Sarah Vogel with the Medal of Cargonite Order of Heroism for their efforts in the Battle of Nulia and the defense of the Federation. She hands you the case, showing the medal.
And, she'll ceremoniously accept it, the whole military left hand out salute thing.
Starfleet don't salute.
Well, you know what I mean.
She grabs the the second case. Lieutenant Sarissa, please stand at attention.
Yep, I will do so.
I hereby award Lieutenant Sarissa the Karagite Order of Heroism. She hands you the medal.
Accept that as is proper, with the drill that is appropriate.
Grabs the next medal. Lieutenant Commander Shran. First name I can't pronounce. Shars Sharan. On behalf of Starfleet Command, I hereby award you the Medal of the Karagite Order of Heroism.
Thank you, Admiral.
And taking the last medal out. Commander Solon, for your explanatory use of tactics during the Battle of Nulia and the defense of the Federation, I hereby award you the Grand Kagite Order of Tactics. Congratulations. Hands you the
Thank
medal.
you. Takes it. No surprise.
This crew has been an exemplary example of all that Starfleet holds true. It pleased me that I was actually able to get approval from Starfleet Command that the USS Tenshi is to embark for deep space exploration just beyond Federation space towards the outer rim of this galaxy. Your mission will proceed in 2 days. This mission may be perilous and facing the unknown, but it holds the very examples of what Starfleet is all about. After all, our motto with the 10th Fleet is venture forth into the unknown, because that is what we do best in Starfleet. I wish all of you good luck in your adventures to seek out new life and new civilizations. You're all dismissed.
Oh, so that just happened. Congratulations, Vogel.
Thank you, Lieutenant.
Of course, Lieutenant.
All right, everybody. You heard the Admiral. You're dismissed to your stations and duties as appropriate.
to my duty uniform.
Agreed.
I have had to go into combat in a dress uniform before. That was not fun.
It
Commander
would seem,
Solon, Lieutenant Commander Thashran, word.
Captain.
Yes, sir.
And he kind of walks off to let everyone else kind of file by them. I suppose they could go out that way, to be fair. But there's that way too. Oh no, that's storage closet! Ah!
I found Mirror Thashran, by the way. He's in the turbo lift.
We found him! Get him! Commanders?
Sir?
Captain.
I am considering, given my new position, Commander Solon here, Thashran has spoke well of your how you counted for yourself as XO. I will formally extend the position of third officer to you, and if you wish, you may remain in the command division or return back to the operations division or color uniform at your leisure. Or if you wish to switch to a different department to expand your horizon before you get your third gold pip.
I must apologize, sir, but engineering was my pride and joy, shall we say, with having to fulfill the role of an XO. I figured it would be proper for me to swap into the command uniform. Unfortunately, at this juncture, with the offer extended to me by Commander Salon and by extension yourself, sir, I have no idea what I want to do.
Well, we got 2 days yet. 2 days yet before we ship out. So let me know what you want to. Let me know what you want to. Well, rather let Solon know what you want to do, and we can work out properly fitting you. I will say this mission where I've wrangled us is gonna require us to not be needing as much Starbase check-in. We'll have to be able to deal with some of this stuff ourselves or on alien bases. So if you do wish to remain in the engineering position, I would definitely not. I would definitely welcome a skilled engineer like yourself. But if you want to push for command, even if it is in the Corps of Engineers, I think between the various bits of brass and gold we all gathered here today, I think we can manage to pull some strings. I think that's within our ability. Or rather, second officer. You would be third officer. Yeah, give it a thought. Talk with Solon. He's been serving longer than I have, and he can give you some pointers on exactly what would be the best move and where and who's looking for what. I'll use my influence, despite whatever you're doing, to help you with whatever it is you wish to do. Me and you may disagree on style, but I don't think either of us disagree on the substance of our mission out here.
And I agree with you there, sir.
Very well. Anything to report since over the night? I've been over at Starbase for the last few hours. I don't have a ton of sleep at the moment.
Captain, the ship is prepared to carry out its mission. Obviously, we'll take on some extra supplies since we'll be going to deep space with our new orders. We are ready, sir.
Very good. Let's start looking over personnel and records and check for that we have the best people for the job of deep space exploration, and see if you can pull us someone from the diplomatic corps. I've in the waiting database, I've pushed a little bit. I might hear back from the corps headquarters, but shakes his head. It's going to take time before I hear back from them. If there's someone here, then that'll be helpful. In the meantime, you two keep running the ship. I'm finally going to get some sleep. And my new quarters, or my current quarters, hopefully everyone's gotten my stuff in by now. If not, I'll yell at somebody. That'll be my problem.
Indeed, sir. Let me just say it's a relief to where if I do go back to engineering, I don't have to deal with the XO's paperwork all the time.
I don't understand. Paperwork provides order, structure.
And then,
Benefits us all.
as if it just occurred to him, he's going to go, "Oh, Commander, did you see that one report that I forwarded to you yesterday?"
I did. I felt your solution was appropriate. Perhaps it will prevent those particular two crewmen from having the energy for repeat performance.
Understandable.
Give me a viability report of this project you seem to be plotting, and we'll see about implementing it. Since you will be the head of engineering, you get to head that up. Talk with Lieutenant Vogel as well, see if we can arrange the operations end of it as well. Try to smooth out the logistics of it. Even if we can't get everything from Starbase, we can get a wish list of what we want, and we can see if we can gather it in the field.
And then looking to you with understanding, sir, this was more a administrative thing, not departmental thing.
Oh.
There'll be a report on your desk, I'm sure of it.
Merely a personnel issue, Captain.
Oh,
it has been dealt with.
Oh, all right then. I thought it was one of the your engineering projects. Never mind. You're both dismissed. I am gonna take this shift and get some sleep. Carry on, commanders.
Thank you, sir.
Commander Thashran, might I suggest that you get some rest as well? We're going to be busy in the next few days.
I will agree with you there, Commander. Hopefully, engineering doesn't decide to blow up an EPS conduit while I'm asleep.
We shall endeavor to not blow anything up while you're resting.
Thank you, Commander.
And Salon's going to go back to his new/old office and begin working on the captain's latest orders, going through the personnel files of the Starbase, looking for a appropriate diplomatic attaché. Also going through their Starbase personnel for other suitable personnel that we might be able to poach before we leave. Not that poach would be the word that Vulcan would use.
Procure.
Appropriate.
Appropriate.
Is there any other roleplay that you guys wish to do before we close out today's session?
I actually would like a scene with Sarissa, wherever she is.
If she's going to duty, she's probably first to her quarters to get out of the dress uniform because meow.
Yeah.
I've had to serve on the bridge in a dress uniform and then beamed down to a planet and got shot by a Jem'Hadar in it. So let's not repeat that. I'm going to duty uniform, then the bridge. So impossible to
intercept
catch her outside quarters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just got changed, Sarissa. You're back in your duty uniform. You're about ready to head back up to the bridge when you notice the captain.
Probably
Lieutenant?
still adjusting her jacket. Oh, Captain. Not expecting to see you down here.
Wanted to have a word with you. I understand you haven't had a chance to check in back in the homeworld.
I've sent some messages and looked at the news, but I've not been back there, no.
I just wanted to make sure that you were. I mean, with this mission, it's going to be a long time before we're back in Federation's space. We're probably going to be checking with 200 mainly. So I don't know if we're going to be able to get you or anyone back to home shore leave for a bit.
Most of my family is on the planet, and the rest of the clan too. I can ask for pictures and take those with me. They'll still be there when I come back.
I just didn't want to separate you too harshly from any clan matters you might have.
Most of what I have is here. There would be. I mean, you've got my file, and you know about my Starfleet relations in terms of family in uniform.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, we're not likely to find the Ryans out there, but that was a long shot of hope anyway.
From one occasion to another, I will see if I can get someone to look into this for us.
If you, okay, Captain.
In an ideal world, I'd like to help you hunt down these people, but we have a higher calling.
Of course, Captain. As was intended. When I first enlisted.
Very well. Send me what you have, and I'll pass it along to some people I know.
Understood, sir. Thank you. And good to have you back, Captain.
Lieutenant?
And she'll go on her way to the bridge. I can multitask. I can do my job and send messages at the same time.
Anything else? Or anybody else?
Firing squad for Vogel.
What?
That's after you get to deep space.
Right. Never mind. Then we'll wait till next time. Then.
Is it a firing squad or would an airlock do?
I suppose it would save us power.
So what you're saying is I need to get in contact with Mir Vogel now.
But yeah, no, that's it. That's it for Thetan. He's gonna take some nice sleep because he's been up for like 48 hours.
Alrighty then. With that, we'll conclude today's session.